Peace, guys. How's it going? Patrick, ConservativeRap, and in this video, we're going to talk about whether or not the Democratic Party will remain in existence. And that's a provocative claim, right? A major political party soon dissolving in its entirety. But I think if you evaluate both the history of politics alongside current political trends, you'll see what I'm proposing here. It's really not that far-fetched. As the saying goes, and this is from Proverbs, pride cometh before the fall, and a haughty spirit before destruction. So whether it's some of their major reps and rising stars behaving childishly and lacking decorum, some of their major news outlets and publications just showing like flagrant disrespect for pediatric cancer survivors, or in some cases their insistent defense of explicit fraud and money laundering, what we'll see is that this democratic machine, the party which has effectively held all of the cultural sway and social influence over my life, the life of our parents' generation, and much of our grandparents, may soon come to be considered so anti-American, so morally hollow, so illogical and inconsistent, and so just fundamentally sinister that in the not too distant future they may also be considered a thing of the past. First from Wikipedia, and I'll put these links in the body of the content below. I talked with a friend about this, and he agreed. He mentioned the Democrats may, and he used a popular saying, go the way of the Whig Party. This comparison stuck with me, and not being the most familiar, I did some research. The Whig Party was effectively the predecessor to what we now know as the modern Republican Party. The Whig Party was around from the early 1800s to the mid 1800s, and they opposed presidential power, territorial expansion, the Mexican-American War at the time, and they effectively proposed what was known as the American systems. They were popular among entrepreneurs, professionals, Protestant Christians, and they lacked backing from some of the poor farmers and unskilled workers at the time. So they opposed Andrew Jackson, but many presidents, Henry Harrison, John Tyler, Zachary Taylor, Millard Fillmore, there were some internal divisions that led to their collapse, but eventually many of the northern Whigs joined the Republican Party while the southern Whigs aligned with other groups. And despite the dissolution, they affected political discourse for decades moving forward. So let's get into some current day examples of what drove me to this line of thinking. Exhibit A from the Western Journal. On a night full of embarrassing moments for Democrats, Jasmine Crockett's rap video was hard to top. This article criticizes, which you may have seen, the Democrats' party's behavior during Trump's recent address. There was Al Green being evicted for his outburst, and then also Jasmine Crockett, who did a like Kendrick Lamar-esque rap song. It was corny, it was foolish, and it was disgusting. And a lot of people are providing backlash online for that, just how she lacked professionalism. I think in her origin, she actually, it's pretty interesting. She went to private school as a child, and for some reason feels this type of behavior appeals to blacks as a whole. It's very fascinating. You may have also seen, there's a video circulating of her calling Putin a hoe. There's also a video, fairly cringy, of the Democrat congresswomen posing as like Street Fighter icons. It's extremely disgusting. And Exhibit B, going beyond simply being out of touch, being out of style, lacking class. This is from the Daily Mail. MSNBC's Nicolle Wallace gives a sickening take on a 13-year-old with terminal cancer who was honored by Trump. So Nicolle Wallace from MSNBC also faces backlash and declining ratings following some of the comments she made on DeVarge DJ Daniel during Trump's address. She was criticized the ceremony honoring Daniel, framed it as propaganda, sparked some outrage, and political figures, even Trump himself, called for her resignation. She's already seeing a drop in viewership, and despite the criticism, she remains defiant. She's, continuing her criticisms of Trump without issuing any apology whatsoever. And I think not only does this showcase the broader struggles for MSNBC as a network it's really just a showcase of where they're headed as a whole. Here's John Fetterman, Exhibit C from Fox News. John Fetterman takes aim at his own political party in a tweet about hashtag the resistance. John Fetterman criticized fellow Democrats for their behavior during the address to Congress, particularly for not standing, again, to honor a 13-year-old cancer survivor who Trump recognized as a touching moment. Fetterman described his party's action as unhinged petulance and called out their focus on protests and viral videos instead of like substantive issues. Exactly. He also opposed the government shutdown, emphasizing the need for cooperation, passing a resolution. Fetterman's remarks highlight divisions within the Democrat Party and frustration over their approach to governance. Period. So in my mind, Fetterman is soon to go the way of Gabbard and the others, right? And it's over this fundamental moral issue, this inability via Trump derangement syndrome, as it's called, to put politics aside in the face of fundamental human values. I don't know if you've seen, and I'll link to some of this in the post below, the electoral college map. It was 312 to 226 last November, which is a mandate. And then there are deeper maps that showcase electoral results by county. And it's really just fascinating how much of a loss, right? This cognitive dissonance that Democrats have, this self-serving political bias, it's a shared blindness, and it prevents them from being taken seriously. It's already cost them elections. But after a crushing defeat like this, it continues to cost them respect in the eyes of the populace. So, again, these like embarrassing, cringy, morally questionable outbreaks by some of their leaders, alongside some of the fraud and corruption, investigations into USAID, linking back to potentially kickbacks, proof of money laundering. It's being exposed, and I don't see Democrats really being taken seriously or recovering in any way that would leave some semblance of a like respectable political party. Here's also some recommended reading, and I'll put this in the body below, by Dr. Steve Turley, The Return of Christendom, Demography, Politics, and Coming Christian Majority. So this is a book that exposes from a global standpoint the revitalization of Christian culture, and that alongside the political revolution, there's a demographic revolution driving back to conservative Christian values. Higher fertility rates among Christian conservatives, nationalist baby boom in certain Europe demographies, and again, the MAGA movement and its like parallels in Italy, certain countries in South America, etc. So again, here ultimately, like the globe over, not just with Trump, think of Maloney, etc. They're losing the political fight and the intellectual fight. They're defending the indefensible and clearly unethical behavior amidst a global socio-cultural shift towards traditional values and a worldwide re-traditionalization and a populist ethos. So one thing to watch for, think of an Obama versus a Trump, right? The left really doesn't have a figure right now. It was my coach who pointed this out to me. A lot of this stuff can be cyclical. So in 10 years, 15 years, I'd watch for a rebranded quasi-democrat offshoot. Just like the Whig Party influenced the Republican Party, there'll most likely emerge some framework for hyper-leftist socialist policies, even if it's not the Democrats, who only need a like charismatic figure to ignite that momentum. So again, pride cometh before the fall, and a haughty spirit before destruction. While politics is ultimately cyclical, this Democrat machine, ironically once seen as the bastion of civil rights and holding the moral high ground, it's really facing its death knells geopolitically, socio-culturally, and more. For more, feel free to check out my site, ConservativeRap.com, and thanks for taking a listen.